Iron is now in session. The Honorable Richard J. Salello presiding.
Please be seated. All right, the Senate is present, the attorneys are here, all the jurors are present in the jury box. Good morning, members of the jury. Ms. Powell.
Your Honor, there are a few items that we intended to admit yesterday that we did not admit. We have joint exhibit number 14, which is the transcript. It is not a certified transcript of the interviews with Kelly Cochran and Jason Cochran that occurred on 10/31/2014 with Detective Brackett and Reichela. And then we also have joint exhibit number 15, which is a transcript of the interviews that occurred with Kelly Cochran on November 4th, 2014, involving Detective Brackett and Detective Reichela. We also have, and this has not been discussed yet, but it is a joint exhibit number 26, which is a timeline of activity that was printed off from the computer extraction report from Kelly Cochran's iPhone 4, which was previously admitted yesterday.
All right. Those are all joint exhibits, so they will be received. Your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sir, will you step forward, raise your right hand, and sworn back.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
You may be seated.
Your Honor, before we proceed with Detective Sergeant Peterson's testimony, we do have People's Demonstrative Exhibit number 2 that we would be moving to admit this time just for demonstrative purposes.
We're not going to admit it. It's marked as number 2.
It is.
And what is it?
It is a PowerPoint of the science, I guess, behind fingerprint analysis.
All right, thank you.
Please state your name.
Jay Peterson.
And what is your occupation presently?
I am a detective sergeant at the Nagani Post.
And how long have you been with, you said the Menominee Post, are you referring to Michigan State Police?
The Nagani Post.
Nagani Post, are you referring to the Michigan State Police?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been with the Michigan State Police?
In June it'll be 20 years.
And what is your current assignment at the Nagani Post?
I'm a detective sergeant handling post investigations for Marquette and Elder County.
And prior to handling investigations, what did you do with the Michigan State Police?
I was a specialist detective sergeant with the Michigan State Police assigned to the Marquette Forensic Laboratory as a latent fingerprint examiner and the head of our crime scene response team.
And were you in that position in 2014?
Yes.
Okay, and in 2015 as well?
Yes.
Is the term forensic scientist appropriate for what a latent fingerprint examiner does?
Yes, it is.
And what is your educational background?
I have a Bachelor of Science degree from Northern Michigan University in criminal justice, and then I have specialized training in the area of latent fingerprints through the Michigan State Police. It's a 2-year training program extensively in the study of friction ridge skin.
And when did you first become involved in the science of latent print analysis?
In 2004, I believe, I was reassigned to the Marquette Forensic Laboratory. And then the training program started. As I stated, it was about a 2-year training program. In the study of friction ridge skin, we were submitted and sent to training with world-renowned experts all over the country, specialized training.
And what does the training consist of? Fieldwork, coursework, hands-on training?
Everything. Basically, friction ridge skin is the study of your fingerprints, palm prints, and the soles of your feet. It's a field development ridge structure.
And you just mentioned friction ridge skin. As
yes.
The PowerPoint slide that we have on at this point in time is from People's Demonstrative Exhibit number 1. Could you tell us what's in that slide, please?
Yes, that's actually a representation of a finger and the epidermal and dermal layers of the structure of friction ridge skin.
Okay.
Biological slide.
At that time you were assigned to doing latent print analysis, did you do other things as well for the crime laboratory in Marquette?
Yes, as I stated, I was the head of our crime scene response team. We are a team of laboratory analysts that have areas of specialties, will respond to major cases throughout the Upper Peninsula and the Northern Lower. Worked on cases all over the state, actually.
And have you testified in court previously as an expert witness in latent print analysis?
Yes.
And do you know the number of times?
I'm losing track throughout the years, but it's probably close to 30.
And you've been qualified as an expert in this court at least 3 previous times, correct?
Yes, I have.
Can you estimate for us the number of reports you may have authored indicating your findings as to the detection of latent fingerprints?
When I left the lab, my boss put some statistics together, and I worked on over 3,000 latent print cases, which encompasses both evidentiary items that are submitted to the lab for processing and latent lifts that are processed in the field by our evidence technicians. Those are analyzed by myself as well.
Your Honor, at this time I'd offer Detective Sergeant Peterson as an expert in latent fingerprint analysis.
Thank you. I'll allow the officer to testify by way of opinion evidence in his field.
So, could you tell us about friction ridge skin? Just a little bit more.
Sure. Basically, most people have an understanding that friction ridge skin is unique to you and only you. Every person's fingerprints are unique. But basically, the premise behind that is during your 10th to 16th week of gestation, you were floating around inside of your mom as almost like a little tadpole. When your friction ridge skin starts to develop, it would kind of flow in perfect circular patterns until something happened, until you moved, until your mother moved, until she needed to get up and go to work or do something, thereby causing those friction ridge skins and the pressure and the touch when her core body temperature, which would regulate your core body temperature, would change. And what it develops on the skin, if you look up at the slide on the right, those ridges would flow in perfect circular patterns until those unique characteristics started to develop or move or change. And those are what are called minutiae or Galton details. So identical twins, similar DNA, identical twins do not have the same fingerprints, and for that premise only. Could two people be doing the exact same thing at the exact same time with the same core body temperature regulated by the mother with just similar movements? Absolutely not. So those details in very fine spatial relationships are what we measure and look at for fingerprints. If that makes sense.
Makes sense. Do these only occur on your fingers or your palms?
No, it's your entire fingers, each digit, the palmar areas of your hand, and actually the bottoms of your feet. That's what we refer to as friction ridge skin, which makes up unique characteristics for everyone.
Excellent. What are latent fingerprints?
Latent is Latin for invisible. So what we do as examiners, we will try to make latent prints visible so that we can compare them side by side. That's anything in forensic science. You're taking a known sample and comparing it to an unknown sample. So we take a variety of different techniques, chemicals, cyanoacrylate fuming, superglue fuming, or chemicals and powders to develop latent prints so that we can lift them and then compare them side by side.
When you are comparing them, well, first of all, before a print is of comparison quality, what does it need to have?
It needs to have sufficient information for us to be able to individualize the quality and quantity of a fingerprint. A fingerprint is nothing more than a representation of actually an oily touch. So it's oils and sebaceous content that's not naturally found on the palmar areas or fingers of your hands. And when you apply that to an object, you leave that residue, which is an actual makeup of the ridge structure and those Galton and minutia details that we talked about earlier. So that's a depositing of an item, of a fingerprint is actually you leaving oil or sebaceous content onto an item.
How does the surface of the item impact the type of print you leave?
Well, very smooth surfaces like glass or chrome or maybe varnished wood would be a good surface. Bad surfaces would be anything that would be handled or rough or corrugated or porous. Those are very difficult surfaces to obtain fingerprints on. For reasons, fingerprints, what you're leaving is that actual oil. So it can be exposed to environmental conditions, movement, smudging, grabbing. If you think of just grabbing a pop can, for example, the way you would handle it, the condensation on the outside of a can when you smudge it, leave it. Nobody grabs anything and then lifts their fingers perfectly off. So it's kind of a CSI effect that we should be able to obtain fingerprints on every different item, but in reality we are not able to do that.
For the record, I'm holding up a CDR. Is this type of surface, or this type of surface conducive to fingerprints?
Yes, it is.
And what about something like the wood here on the jury box?
Not so great.
Why would wood not be very good?
Under a microscope and under magnification, you would see actual corrugated surfaces and fine lines. So the actual deposit of the finger wouldn't, the ridge structure wouldn't actually touch every surface on a corrugated surface. So it would be very difficult. And it's typically wiped or smudged or cleaned, those kinds of things.
And would paper be a good surface?
Paper is indeed a pretty good surface. Because those oils get deposited into objects, you will find ridge structure on there, but typically it's not identifiable.
You indicated, or you spoke briefly about climate. How does climate affect fingerprints?
Well, if a fingerprint or a latent fingerprint is actually exposed to environmental conditions, it's just like anything. If anything were to rub across it, if anything were to get it wet, or if it's rubbing on another surface, those types of things would affect the fingerprint itself. If an object is just left and deposited and not touched, it's fine, but in reality and in life, that doesn't typically happen.
Yes. What is the known standard?
A known standard is simply a fingerprint card. It can be an inked set of impressions, or it can be what we utilize now typically is live scan, which is an electronic way of obtaining fingerprints. Fingerprints can be recorded in a variety of different ways, but typically we see that on an applicant card. Bankers, teachers, anybody who works with kids has to have their fingerprints, police officers. So they're nurses. There's a lot of applicant cards out there too.
CPL cards?
Correct.
And a CPL concealed pistol license cards?
Yes.
Yes. What is ACE-B to you?
ACE-B, to me, when I was working as a forensic scientist, is a methodology that's utilized in the study of latent fingerprints. The ACE it's a acronym that stands for Analyze, Compare, Evaluate, and then Verify. So everything that I would do, or that my partner, Derek Emmy at the time would do, has to be independently verified by another trained examiner to the same level of competency. So that would mean he would look at it and make a comparison or an identification, an exclusion, or inconclusive result, and then he would give it to me to essentially do the case again. And then if we didn't come up with the same conclusion, we would have to take it to another examiner to try to take a look at it. It's just a checks and balances system that works fairly well.
And when you do the analysis part of this, what do you do?
The analysis portion of the comparison would be to take a fingerprint and just the totality of the print. There's levels of detail that we look at. Level 1 detail is essentially pattern shape. There's 3 different types of pattern shapes in fingerprints: loops, whorls, and arches. We'd make sure that if we could identify what shape it was. If you have, for example, if you were to have all whorl patterns and this was a arch print, it's not the same person. That's a very quick exclusion that we can do because we look at hundreds of thousands of fingerprints. The analysis portion is just basically maintaining that we can find enough sufficient information for us to call it of comparison value.
And the comparison portion?
The comparison is the side-by-side comparison to another unknown or to a known sample. So if I've got a fingerprint, I'm going to take it and take a look at people that are developed by the agency that we are working for and compare it side by side.
And is that done just visually, or is that done under a microscope or some other tool?
It's actually a photography loop. It's a 1-to-1 magnifier that's utilized. It's just a photography loop.
The evaluation portion of it?
The evaluation portion is the the characteristics or the minutia or all the details are quantified, if there's enough information there for us in the totality of the print, using all 3 levels of detail for us to be able to make an identification or an exclusion.
And you already talked about the verification process, that you have to have a second examiner verify your work, is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
How often do you actually get a print that is of sufficient quality and quantity to actually do a comparison?
I believe the FBI standards and the statistics that have come out, approximately 15% of latent print cases nationwide. We had a better batting average in Marquette. We were approximately 20 to 25% of the time we were able to obtain fingerprints. It's essentially about 2 in 10 or 1 in 4, so pretty approximately.
Up in Marquette, where at the laboratory there, how many fingerprint analysts were there at any given time usually?
Typically, there's just 2 of us. We act as a resource for local law enforcement throughout the UP, so any physical evidence case that needed examination for latent print analysis was done through that at that point by either myself or my partner at that time, Detective Sergeant Derek Emmett.
When evidence is received at the Marquette lab, is there some way to identify it so that you can, I guess, monitor that piece of evidence all the way through your system?
Right. We have a software program called Forensic Advantage. When agencies would come into the desk upon check-in, they would be given a record number, ID number, and a date and time, and then that was documented for our chain of custody. Anytime that piece of property was moved throughout the laboratory for different analysis, it would be printed out. We'd have a printout of that chain of custody.
And on this case, were you, or did you assist the Marquette laboratory in not only processing or trying to process latent fingerprints, but also in doing some crime scene processing?
Yes, I did.
Just briefly, with respect to crime scene processing, how does the Marquette laboratory process a crime scene? Is it a team, individuals?
Right. As I said, I was the coordinator, so most of these requests and crime scene requests that came through me for approximately 10 years. And what we would do is basically we would get a call either from the agency, regional dispatch, or Michigan State Police Operations. And we would get a request for a call saying there was an incident that occurred, typically homicide, major assaults, bank robberies, and things like that. We would take the information that was ascertained by the investigators at that time, and I would put a team together of trained individuals in biology, latent prints, firearms, things like that would need to go out on the scene, depending on the evidence that we had available. A lot of times we didn't really know. Typically it'd be a team of either 3 or 4 or 5 individuals if we were lucky. We don't have a plethora of employees, or we were a small laboratory of 10 people. So we would go out on crime scenes at that time.
And you may have covered this, and I may have missed it, but what type of personnel do you utilize, or what are the roles?
We have, when you hear the word or the explanation of Marquette Forensic Laboratory, it's actually a series of laboratories down a hallway. We each have our own individual laboratory. We have a beautiful facility in Marquette. Latent prints, biology, toxicology, controlled substances. We have blood pattern analysis. We do not have any firearms analysts in Marquette or DNA, but we do DNA prep in Marquette. We would request the assistance of the Grayling Forensic Laboratory or one of our other 7 laboratories throughout the state if we needed certain other specialty areas.
When you go to process a crime scene, do you generally have a little bit of information regarding what the case is about before you arrive at the scene?
Right. Very little usually. There are a lot of times where police agencies will go find out that there is a major scene that needs further investigation, and then they will request the laboratory. And sometimes due to our large geographical area, we try to get in and get out in about an hour, and then we have a lot of drive time, usually 3 hours one way, 3 hours another. So a lot of times we would be gaining information throughout as we would go via phone call.
Were you tasked to assist in the Chris Reagan disappearance?
Yes, it was.
And what was the first thing that you did with respect to this matter?
If I can, may I refer to my notes?
Sure.
The first record number that I have associated with this was record number 4, I believe.
You have record number 4, the detective sergeant. I have record number 1 that involved processing of the vehicle.
Yes.
Okay. With respect to record number 1, was that done in the laboratory?
Yes, it was. That was a vehicle processing case that was done. The investigation, the vehicle was towed to our laboratory and processed there.
Okay. And when you examine such a large item of evidence, how do you begin?
Well, basically what we're doing in the laboratory is collecting evidence that we need to analyze within the laboratory. So for a vehicle or a house, for example, we will document both with photography and then document through sketches, notes, or evidence collection, depending on what we see that may have forensic value related to the case.
So you do a visual inspection first. Do you use any type of, when you're looking especially for fingerprints, do you use any type of tool other than strict visual examination and light?
We can. We have different things available to us that we can utilize. We have a RUVA system, ultraviolet imaging system. We have a variety of different polylights, crime scene scopes, and different things. Basically, what that does is allows different nanometers of light that the eye can't typically see. It'll just magnify fingerprints or trace evidence or things like that. It just allows us to see things a little more clear.
And were you able to find any prints on the vehicle?
No, we're not.
Did that surprise you?
No. As I stated, it's very common. There are certain areas of the interior of a vehicle, especially something with either leather or soft interior, those are not conducive surfaces for light and print analysis. Items and contents within, possibly. The rear view mirror, yes, that would typically be processed. But a lot of times those are smudged fingerprints and not of any value.
I want to direct your attention to records number 4, 11, and 14.
Yes.
Who prepared those reports?
Record number 4 was prepared by my partner at that time, Derek Emmy, Detective Sergeant. Number 11 was also, and number 14 was also prepared by Derek Emmy.
And going back to record number 4, could you tell us what was examined in record number 4?
One moment. Record number 4 had 2 containers and holding 2 items. One was one document, it was a yellow sticky note, and item 118 was 2 documents and then computer-generated printouts.
Your Honor, and for the record, we would offer joint exhibit number 2 on just obtaining additional copies of reports that should have been included. Excuse me, joint exhibit number 22. I'm just waiting for those copies.
All right, Mr. Shilkey, any problem?
No problem, Your
All
Honor.
right,
That's fine.
it's received.
Thank you. So you received the container with the yellow sticky note in it?
Yes.
2 computer-generated printouts?
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I said you, Detective Sergeant Emmy did?
Yes, he did.
And to your knowledge, did he process those, the sticky note?
Yes, he did.
And was he able to develop a print of sufficient quality and quantity?
Yes, he was.
And was he able to match that print with any other print at that time?
Yes. The previously mentioned evidence was processed with 2 latent fingerprints of comparison value being developed, and we were able to identify one of those and excluded one, and then one was put into APHIS.
Okay, and what is APHIS?
APHIS is the computer system. It's an automated fingerprint identification system. And what that does is a fingerprint is inputted into the system, marking all of those unique details of comparison value, and then that is compared to all of the database of fingerprints taken from all individuals, both the FBI's database and the Michigan State Police database. Basically, everybody that's ever been fingerprinted in the world if it's entered into that system is compared against.
Do you generally send a note to the agency regarding the fact that you've developed one print but you weren't able to match it to another print?
Yes, we do. We issued a police report. That's record number 4 detailing all of this.
I have my copies now, so I'm going to ask you some. Too late. Do you know when that was completed, that report was completed?
Record number 4 was completed on January 6th of 2015.
Moving on to the next record, which is record number 11. Well, first of all, did you verify Detective Sergeant Emmy's work in that report?
Yes, I did.
So moving on to record number 11, what did Detective Sergeant Emmy analyze in that record?
In this record, one red file folder supporting a faint possible footwear impression that was processed with no latent prints of comparison value developed.
And the next record, record number 14, what did Detective Sergeant Emmy analyze in that?
It's a 22 caliber RG Industries model RG-14 6-shot revolver.
Were any latent prints developed off from that?
No latent prints were developed on that item.
And when was that completed?
That was completed in March of 2015, March 13th, 2015.
And moving on to the next record, which is record number 26. Is this a report that's been authored by you?
Yes, it is.
And what did you examine in that report?
This was a case that was submitted by Chief of Police at that time, Laura Frizzo, for an elimination print for Cindy Barrett. So the print that was developed previously, it was an unidentified latent print, was compared to that subject. Okay. So it was another request for analysis at that time.
So the print that you were using to look at, was that the unidentified print from the yellow sticky note?
Yes.
Detective Sergeant Emmy's record number 4?
Yes.
So you were taking that, you had received, did you receive some impressions of Cindy Barrett's fingerprints?
Yes, we received some known impressions. It contained 2 sets of known finger impressions with the name of Cindy Mae Barrett.
So when you received these impressions from Cindy Barrett, you took a print from the sticky note that was unidentified. How were you able to identify them?
Using the scientific method that I utilized, that I spoke of earlier, is the methodology. The fingerprint that was developed on the yellow sticky note, item number 53, was identified to the right middle finger of Cindy Barrett.
So the print that was, the 2 prints that were on the yellow sticky note were Chris Regan's prints and Cindy Barrett's prints, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I now want to direct your attention to record number 29. Were you presented with some items for processing?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and what were you presented with?
Lots of pieces of black plastic, dirt, debris, black plastic bags, and then black plastic cylinder containing pieces identified as a snuff can that was really weathered.
And when you say weathered, was it rusty? Was it falling apart? What was it?
Falling apart, rusty, holes in it, very weathered.
Was it metal or plastic?
I believe it was plastic. There might have been a metal portion of the top, I don't recall.
How did you process the bags and the dirt and debris?
The bags were separated as best as possible. They had been clearly out in the elements, dirt, debris, leaf pieces. So those were separated. And then we use a technique called cyanoacrylate ester fuming, which is a fancy word for superglue fuming. Basically what that does is we use a chamber, we use a heat source, we've got water and superglue fumes, and as the water evaporates through the interior portion of the chamber, it adheres to the sebaceous content of fingerprints on an item and it turns them white so that we can photograph them and compare them side by side. So what superglue fuming does is it takes the cyanoacrylate fumes, it adheres to the latent fingerprints, the oily or sebaceous content on an item, and it just turns it white.
Were you able to develop any fingerprints of comparison value?
No, I was not.
And what did you do with the snuff can?
The same, similar processing techniques. There's follow-up techniques after the superglue fumes, and according to my worksheet on these items, we use cyanoacrylate, superglue fuming, then we used dye stain, which is a rhodamine, ardrox, and yellow stain blend, and then we use the crime scope, which is an ALS system, which is an alternative light source, to also look for prints on all the objects, and there were no prints on them.
Okay. Can you go back for a minute to the staining? What does that consist of?
Staining is simply, we use a variety of different stains, and this is mainly a rhodamine staining, and it's sprayed onto the object so that it will stick to the superglue, and then we can use an alternative light source to clearly see it if it's there.
And in this case, there were no latent prints of comparison value developed on either one of these items?
There were no prints of comparison value on any of these items.
I'm going to direct your attention now to record number 33. Were you presented with items to analyze or process with respect to record number 33?
Yes, I was.
And what were you presented with?
Oh, there were pieces of apparent metal identified as a chewing tobacco can, described as degraded. One pair of eyeglasses that I described as dirty. There were pieces of plastic supporting large amounts of dirt and debris.
And did you examine these items?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and how did you examine the tobacco can?
There was very similar techniques, cyanoacrylate and dye staining and alternative light source.
And no prints of comparison value?
No, there were none.
And how did you process the eyeglasses?
Same technique.
And any prints of comparison value?
None.
And how did you process the plastic, dirt, and debris in this case?
Same techniques. Cyanoacrylate, dye stain, and alternative light source.
I want to direct your attention now to record number 3. What is that record regarding?
This is a request for processing the apartment of a missing person in this investigation at that time.
And what was your role in that processing?
There I was in charge of latent print processing, evidence collection, and supervision.
Can you tell us what the address was of the scene that was processed at that time?
The address was identified as apartment number 4 at 514 North 4th Avenue.
And on what date did that processing occur?
The processing November 25th of 2014.
And I won't ask you the details about it, just that you were there. Did you also do photography in that instance?
I did.
Forensic scientist Horowitz is going to be here tomorrow to testify about that.
Very good.
Out of all of these record numbers, and I think we went through 8 maybe, only 2 prints of latent of comparison value were developed, is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Shoki.
Sure, thank you. Morning, sir. How are you?
Good, how are you, sir?
Very good, thank you. No, when I took the bar exam, I was fingerprinted, and I was assuming that my prints are in that database, as we call it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I'm pulling a piece of paper here, several pieces of paper. It's been our list of exhibits. I've been checking it off as we're going along. Presumably, if I'm leaving my thumb right here towards the bottom of the page, if I'm leaving a print with my sebaceous matter and oils sufficient to compare, you'd be able to see this print there and compare it and say, well, why Chilke handled that piece of paper, correct?
That's a possibility. It would depend on several different characteristics of how much sebaceous content you actually did have on your hands, how sweaty and nervous you might be, and indeed if you did deposit something of comparison value onto that item, yes.
Okay. So let's assume that I did leave a good print here, okay?
Okay.
Moving forward. Now again, I'm handling this piece of paper the last couple of days, checking things off. And again, assuming that I left a sufficient print on this paper, there might be prints from yesterday or the day before as well, correct?
That's possible, yes.
Again. But again, if there's a print, at the top of the page here or one at the bottom of the page here, can you tell which day I left that particular print?
No, I cannot.
And again, when I put the paper in the copy machine to run through before it is printed, or the printer potentially could have left the print then as well, correct?
Potentially, yes.
And that could have been weeks or months ago, and you couldn't tell the difference as to when I left that print, as to opposed to the print I left today, or possibly left yesterday, correct?
That is correct. We cannot determine the age of a fingerprint.
You can't tell where I was when I left a particular print. For example, today's print would be in the courtroom, and the print that I potentially left when I put the paper in the copy machine was at my office. You couldn't tell where I was.
Correct.
Okay. And again, the only prints of any value you found were on that sticky note. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe those are the only two prints that we were able to obtain in this case.
And one was Miss Barrett's, correct?
That's correct.
And one was Mr. Regan's, correct?
Yes.
And again, you can't tell when or where those prints were left on that particular sticky note, correct?
That is correct.
All right, thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you. Redirect.
None, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
May he be excused from
Yes.
position?
Without objection, Detective, you're excused.
Thank you.
The people call Detective Sergeant Tony Lopez.
Detective Peterson, are you going to tell Detective
Will you
LaPlatte?
tell Detective Sergeant
I will,
Lopez?
Your Honor.
Thank you.
Just for record-keeping purposes, I've been giving copies of the demonstrative exhibit and the reports as well. I do notice they have stickers on them, so are we submitting all these?
No, they're marked for identification.
Okay.
Actually, you need to attend.
Okay, so my copies are my copies, I can do with them as I...
Not the fingerprint reports, those are exhibits, not exhibit books.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Just wanted to be sure, right there, right page. It's long.
Detective, please come up here, stand, raise your right hand and be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Please proceed.
Please state your name.
Anthony LaPlatte.
And what is your occupation?
I'm a detective sergeant with the City of Escanaba, Department of Public Safety.
And how long have you been a detective sergeant?
Detective sergeant, I've been about 8 years.
And how long have you been with Escanaba Public Safety?
Approximately 17 years.
How long have you been in law enforcement total?
Approximately 19 years.
And were you employed anywhere else as a law enforcement officer before being employed with Escanaba?
I did a reserve program at the Hannibal Tribal Police Department before getting my police certificate.
Do you have any specialized training in computer or cellular evidence examination?
Yes, I do. Both of those, computers and mobile devices.
And what kind of training have you received?
I attended a 240-hour class put on by Eastern Michigan University, 6 weeks long. It was pretty intensive. It went from basically building a computer that uses a forensic machine to doing examinations of devices and things of that nature. I've also attended basic investigation of computers that's hosted by the United States Secret Service in Hoover, Alabama at the National Computer Forensics Institute. I've attended FBI image scan training, which is 8 hours, and that's a preview program for illegal image cases. I attended a 16-hour-long program put on by DARA Forensics Group that is for using the internet as an investigative tool and how to exploit social media to our advantage. And I'm also a certified mobile device examiner, which is cell phones and tablets and things of that nature. And that was a 72-hour class hosted by the Secret Service at the National Computer Forensics Institute in Hoover, Alabama.
Yesterday, we had Detective Sergeant Wes Smith from the Michigan State Police testify, and he indicated he's a certified computer forensics examiner. Can individuals or officers also become certified in just the type of software that's being used?
Yes, it is possible to hold, they call them industry certifications, and I hold 2 industry certifications in the field of mobile device examinations. That's CCLO, which is a Cellbrite Certified Logical Operator, and an MPE Plus, which is Access Data's Mobile Phone Examiner Plus.
And do you have to do a proficiency test in order to get certified in these?
Yes, essentially you go through the training and then they put you through a proficiency test and you have to pass that in order to get the endorsement.
In general, we had a little bit of discussion about this yesterday. What does the Cellbrite software do?
Cellbrite software basically communicates with a mobile device, and that's how we extract data from it. We use that tool.
And is that the same thing with the Access Data software?
Similar, yes. Access data that's for computers and things of that nature.
Did you assist with the investigation into Christopher Regan's disappearance?
That I did, yes.
And how did you become involved in this case?
The Director of Escanaba Public Safety asked me if I'd be willing to help out Chief Frizzle from Iron River PD, and I said yes, and that's how the ball got rolling.
And what type of assistance did you initially provide?
Initially, the first thing I did was look at a couple of phones and a computer for Iron River PD. That was in March of 2015.
March of 2015?
Yeah.
Were you provided with the phones and the computer all at the same time?
Yes.
And which one did you look at first?
I checked the phones to see if I could do anything with them. Unfortunately, they were just track phones, and I couldn't do much. And I suggested that that Iron River contact a federal agency to see if they could do a different type of examination that I'm not qualified to do on those 2 devices.
And was that and I'm probably pronouncing this incorrectly, but a Huawei cellular phone?
Yes, it was a Huawei.
Thank you. That's a track phone?
Yes.
And an Alcatel cellular phone that was also a track phone?
Correct.
Were you able to get any information on these phones?
No.
Okay. With respect to the computer, what type of assistance did you provide?
I conducted a computer forensic examination on that device, or on, I believe it was a gateway, E-Machine's computer tower.
And so you actually received the E-Machine's computer tower. What did you do with it first?
The first thing I did is I removed the hard drive from the tower.
And why did you remove the hard drive?
You have to in order to examine it. You can't examine it with it still in the tower.
And what did you do after removing the hard drive?
After removing the hard drive, the hard drive is it's hooked up to a write blocker, which it's this little device that won't let me change or modify any data on the suspect hard drive.
Were you able to create an image, an exact image then of the hard drive from the E-Machine's computer?
Correct. Once it's hooked up to the write blocker, I hook the write blocker up to the forensic machine, and I create an image of that suspect hard drive.
And did you use some software to, to review the image that you created?
Yes, I used FTK Imager to create the image, and I used which is a product by Access Data, and I used Access Data's platform to load that image and view the contents on that device.
Other than the information that Chief Frizzle gave you about the case, well, first of all, did she give you any information about the case?
I had a copy of the search warrant affidavit to search the devices.
And a search warrant affidavit generally has allegations supporting why a search needs to be conducted, right?
That is correct.
And usually details of an investigation?
Details, yes.
So, did you conduct any searches of the hard drive?
I did. I conducted a lengthy search of the electronic contents on that hard drive.
And did you find anything that you thought was of evidential value at that time?
At that point, no. At that point, I'm really just looking for things that are obvious, and I didn't discover anything that would benefit the case either way, as far as evidence of a crime or exculpatory evidence.
And did you generate a report?
I did.
And what did you do with that report?
I forwarded it to Chief Frizzle.
And is that an extraction report, was that included on the hard drive or was it separate?
Okay, so after I did the examination and looked at everything, I created a secondary report because I figured that this case could be likely internet related. So I used another type of software to generate a report and save that to an external hard drive and provided that to IRP.
Was there anything else that you did with respect to this case?
Yes, I helped Iron River obtain Facebook records in this case.
And is it common for officers to need some assistance preparing Facebook search warrants?
Yes, it's very common.
Okay, what's difficult about Facebook?
Facebook is really specific with what they need in the search warrant, who they need it addressed to, how they need it served. Obviously, this is a huge company that receives thousands of legal process demands daily.
Your Honor, at this time, I would offer Joint Exhibit number 23. I would note for the record that Exhibit number 23, as well as the additional copies, are hard drives of the e-machines extraction.
23 is received.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Shoki.
I don't believe I have anything.
All right, thank you, sir. You're excused.
May he be released from his subpoena, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this time, we would call David Saylor.
Mr. Saylor, could you please step forward all the way up here in the front? If you'd stand, raise your right hand and be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Please be seated.
Please state your name.
David Saylor,
And how old are you, Mr. Saylor?
32.
And what is your current address?
It's 400 Baker Street, Caspian.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to speak up a little. I'm having a difficult time hearing you.
400 Baker Street, Caspian.
And are you currently employed?
No.
Did you know Jason and Kelly Cochran?
Yes.
How did you know them?
They were my grandmother's neighbors.
And when you say your grandma's neighbors, did they live on the same street as your grandmother?
Yes.
Were you living at your grandmother's house when you met them?
Yes.
Did you know them before they moved to Michigan?
No.
Who did you meet first?
Jason.
And when did you meet him?
It was like the end of September, early October.
And at some point, did you meet the defendant?
Yes, like
Excuse me, what year are we talking about?
2014.
Thank you.
At some point in time, did you meet the defendant?
Yes,
And when was that?
like two to 3 weeks after meeting Jason.
Also in 2014?
Yes,
How often would you see Jason Cochran in a week?
every day.
And where would you usually see him at?
His house.
Did you guys hang out together?
Yeah,
And what kinds of things did you do?
we just hung out at his house or at my grandma's house.
Did you guys ever go fishing together?
A couple different times we went to the Caspian pit.
And when you did hang out with him, how much time would you spend with him?
Well, it depends on what we were doing. Most of the time I just went over to his house and played cards, dice, and stuff like that.
After you met Kelly Cochran, how often or how much time would you spend with her, or how often would you see
I
her?
really never spent time with Kelly per se. She was always with Jason.
Did Jason Cochran work?
No,
Do you know why he didn't work?
he had medical problems.
Other than spending time with you and fishing, what else would he do during the day that you knew of?
Sleep, take walks.
When you say sleep, how long would he sleep during the day?
A couple hours.
And when you say walk, do you know where he went on his walks?
No,
Do you know how long he'd be gone?
an hour, 2 hours.
Did you and Jason Cochran ever have any discussions regarding the Caspian pit?
No.
No discussions regarding the size of the pit, the depth of the pit, anything like that?
Only thing is what kind of fish are in it. So,
When you went fishing at the Caspian pit, where in the pit did you go?
right off the dock, there's a dock and a little park area.
Did you guys do any ice fishing there?
Yes.
What did Jason wear when you went fishing with him?
I really can't recall exactly what he was wearing.
So you met him in September, the end of September, the beginning of October. Was he wearing any type of winter coat?
Not at that time, I wasn't even.
Were you called down to the Iron River Police Department at some point to identify a piece of clothing?
Yes.
And what were you called down to identify?
A stocking hat.
And were you able to identify the stocking
No,
hat?
I couldn't say it was or wasn't his.
You didn't tell Chief Frizzle that it was his?
Not me.
Do you know how many vehicles Jason and Kelly Cochran had?
One.
And who usually had the vehicle?
Kelly.
Did you ever see Jason drive the vehicle?
No.
Did you ever become aware of any fighting that went on over at that residence?
No.
Any other disturbances at that residence in the middle of the night?
No.
Did you previously testify in this court that there were some noises going on at that house in the middle of the night?
Yeah, they were doing like housework, power tools and stuff running for a couple of days, but that was it.
Approximately how many nights did that go on?
About 2, maybe 3.
And when did that occur?
That was like October. I don't know exactly what day, what time. It was like late at night.
When you say late at night, what are we talking about?
Like 11 all the way up until about 3 in the morning.
At that point in time, do you know whether Kelly Cochran was working?
I don't think she was working at the time.
So neither she nor Jason were working at that time?
No.
Would this have been before or after Chris Reagan's disappearance?
This was like, the noise was after Chris's disappearance, but I didn't know until like end of November that he was gone, disappeared.
So you remember it occurred after the disappearance, but you didn't learn of the disappearance until November?
Yeah.
Had you been in that house prior to Kelly and Jason Cochran purchasing it?
No, just when I met Jason.
Were you in the house after you heard the sawing and the sanding in the middle of the night? Did you see any evidence of remodeling that had been done?
Yes, upstairs, going up the stairs.
But you'd never been in that house previously?
No.
Since you'd never been in the house previously, you couldn't know if that was a change or not upstairs, correct?
Well, I knew before they purchased the house, there was a fire upstairs and it was all remodeled.
Okay, so before they purchased the house, the previous owner had a fire?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, had the upstairs been remodeled before they purchased the house?
Yes.
What did you think when you learned that they were remodeling the upstairs?
It was weird, but it didn't really dawn on me yet, you know, because it was a missing night.
Would you keep your voice up, please?
It was a missing guy, so I didn't know,
Were you ever in the basement of the home?
Yes.
How often would you have gone to the basement?
I've been down there 3, maybe 4 different times.
And what would you have gone to the basement for?
I helped them build a girl room.
What types of things did they have in the basement?
Normal basement stuff, a freezer, laundry, stuff like that.
Was it messy or was it organized?
No, it wasn't messy.
Did it look like there'd been any remodeling done in the basement?
No,
Any painting done in the basement that you saw?
no.
Did you have contact with Kelly and Jason Cochran on March 5th, 2015 while police were serving a search warrant at their home?
Yes,
Where did that contact occur?
at my grandmother's house.
Who was all at your grandma's house that evening?
2 of my uncles, Bob and Todd Sater, my grandma and I, Kelly and Jason.
And were Kelly and Jason Cochran already there when you arrived, or did you
Yes.
arrive first?
They were there when I got there.
And what time did you get there?
Around 10, 11.
And did they stay there for a while?
Yes,
Approximately how long?
couple hours.
After, or when they left, did you see what direction they were headed?
No,
Did the defendant give you anything before they went home that night?
no.
Was there a phone number that she gave you that night?
Oh, she didn't give me none. She gave my uncle her parents' number.
Were you present when that happened?
Yeah, I was there. I didn't really see it.
Did you hear what she said to your uncle, if anything, when she gave him the number?
She just said if anything happens, call her mom.
If anything happens, call her mom?
Yeah.
Did the defendant indicate what she thought might happen?
No.
Did you observe anything at their house after they left your grandma's residence?
No.
Did Kelly and Jason Cochran move from their house in Casper at some point in time?
Yeah, right after the same night.
The same night as the search warrant?
Yeah, that was the last time I seen them.
Did you actually see them move, or did you just wake up in the morning and they were gone?
Yeah, they left our house, but they came back. And then after that, we never seen them again.
Okay, so you said that they left their house and they came back. When did they come back?
Like an hour after the search was done.
Well, why did they come back an hour after the search was done?
Because they said they were going to come over and smoke a joint with me.
Did you guys talk about the search at that point in time?
Kind of here and there. Me and my uncles were telling them if they did anything, they're going to find it, especially if the FBI's there doing the search.
And what was the defendant's reaction to that?
Jason, you could tell something was up because his face was turning red. He was like really quiet, quieter than he ever been. Yeah, it was kind of weird.
And what, if anything, did Kelly say about that?
Kelly, dude, she was in the living room talking to my grandma.
So you said Jason's face got red and he got really quiet. How is Jason normally?
Oh, he is a quiet guy, but he likes to talk. He likes to laugh and stuff like that, but not that night. He even made a comment that they're coming back. The cops are coming back.
He made that comment to you that the cops were coming back? Did you say anything in response to that? Did you have any contact with Kelly or Jason after they went back to Indiana?
Yes.
Who did you have contact with?
Mostly Kelly.
And how often did you talk to her?
I try to call every day, or she called whenever I called, she returned the call.
Prior to them moving to Indiana, who were you better friends with?
I was better friends with Jason. Every time I tried to call, it's either Kelly was answering the phone and she was always gone, or I was Jason.
Did you ever get to talk to Jason again after they moved to Indiana?
Yeah, here and there.
Did you discuss the investigation when you were talking to Kelly in Indiana?
No, not really discuss it, but trying to get information on him. Yes.
You were trying to get information on them?
Yeah.
Were you assisting the police?
Yes.
Did Kelly say anything to you about the investigation?
No, not really. At first she was asking if cops were still by her house and stuff. I haven't seen it, so.
Did she say anything about a body?
No.
She never said to you, they're never going to find a body?
Well, yeah, she said, yeah, she was saying that the whole time. They were never going to find the body because they didn't do nothing.
So, when you say she's saying this the whole time, are you talking about from the time you met her until?
Well, when I found out Chris was missing, and yeah, when I knew the cops were over at their house all the time, that's when they were pretty much saying that they had nothing to do with it. The guy's missing. They're not going to find him around here. They're going to find him somewhere else.
She never said to you, or she never asked you if they found a body?
No.
And what about when they were searching, when the FBI was searching the Caspian Pit? Did you have discussion with her around that time?
No. Just letting her. I talk to her almost every day. I try to record every conversation I had with her. I don't really remember every conversation we had.
Did she say, though, that they're never going to find a body?
Yes, she did say that.
And when you say record the conversations, what did you record them with?
Tape recorder that Laura gave me, or I forget the actual people that gave it, but was helping her with the case.
And did you turn that over to Chief Rizzo?
Yes.
Now, going back to Kelly and Jason, you said that you knew Jason beforehand.
Yes.
When did you first meet Kelly?
It's like a week before my birthday. My birthday's October 28th, so somewhere was in there. Like,
And where did you meet her at?
Jason brought her over to my grandmother's house.
To your knowledge, had she ever been over to your grandmother's house prior to that?
No.
When you went over to Jason's house to visit with him, where was Kelly?
Kelly was out of town when I first met Jason. He told me that they were broken up because she was cheating on him.
He told you that they were broken up?
Yes.
So she was out of town. Did she come back to town at some point in time?
Yes, like about 3 weeks after meeting Jason. And then like the night that she came back, that's when I met her.
So you believe that she was gone that entire time from the house?
Yeah, I don't even know.
You never saw her during
I
that 3
never
weeks?
seen her until she came over to my grandma.
When Jason told you that she was cheating on him, what was his demeanor or his appearance?
Well, he seemed hurt, sad. You know, he didn't, I don't know. He just...
Was he emotional?
Kinda.
You
Talked
say,
to her every day. You know, the phone kept ringing. I just assumed it was Kelly calling.
so he seemed sad. Was there any anger expressed?
No, I never seen anger out of that man at all. Never.
So when you did see Jason and Kelly together, was that at their house or at your grandma's?
At my grandmother's.
And what kinds of things would you be doing at your grandma's house with them?
Well, when I first met Kelly, we had a bonfire outside and Jason and Kelly came over and hung out. So whenever they did come over, it's either we hung out, ate dinner, played cards or dice, or vice versa when I went to their house.
Who did most of the talking when they were over at your house?
They both talked, but I would say Kelly. She was the more talkative one.
Was there ever a time when Jason had to leave your house when you were hanging out with him?
Yeah, when I met Kelly, every time the phone rang, he left. He answered the phone and leave.
And do you know who was on the phone when he answered the phone?
No.
Did Jason ever discuss hunting with you?
No.
No. Did he tell you why they moved to Michigan?
No.
Did the defendant tell you why they moved to Michigan? Did you guys ever discuss guns?
No.
When Kelly and Jason were together, did one or the other of them seem to be the person in charge, I guess, for lack of a better term?
I don't know. If I was to say, it'd be Kelly. Because, like, I don't know. Jason was more like just relaxed, laid back, I guess.
Did you ever see them argue?
No.
Ever see any violence or fighting between them?
No.
Kelly ever talk about her affairs?
No.
After you met Kelly, how often would you see her?
Just as much as I seen Jason.
So every day?
Yeah, pretty much every day.
Did she ever appear to be afraid of Jason?
No.
What about any bruises or injuries on her body?
No.
When you did see Jason, how was his mobility? Did he appear to be affected by his back?
Yeah, he was real slow, sluggish. I guess that's why he was sleeping all the time.
Any physical injuries that you observed to Kelly?
No.
Any issues that you saw she couldn't do anything because she was injured?
Only thing I knew that was wrong with Kelly was she injured her shoulder, I guess, before she even moved up here by working their pool business.
Okay, before she moved to Michigan?
Yeah.
And when you say pool business, what did they tell you about pool business?
They just own a pool business and they just repaired and built pools. swimming pools.
Did they ever discuss with you any chemicals that were used in your pool business? Acids? Thank you.
Are you through?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shoki?
Sir. Morning, sir. How are you?
It'd be better if I wasn't here.
I think there's a lot of people who feel that way. Fair to say that Jason was a buddy of yours,
Yes,
and during the day you all would hang out, fair to say.
yes,
And he'd come over to your place, or you'd go over to his, or maybe fishing, and just fill the day together, correct? You have to answer out loud.
yes,
If I missed you, I'm sorry. Now, when you were hanging out, I think you talked a little bit about it. Just put the cards on the table here, you smoked a little marijuana with him, is that correct?
yes.
Was he giving you this marijuana, or was he selling it to you?
Yeah, both of them.
Both? Maybe one day he'll give you some, the next day he'll sell some to you?
Yeah.
Okay, and I have to ask, were any other things that he was giving or sell you, like pills or anything like that?
No,
Anything harder than marijuana?
no. I'm just a weed smoker.
All right. Now, as your buddy during the day, did Jason ever help you with any projects at all? Anything that you can think of that you were maybe doing around the house?
No,
And there was a time where perhaps some packages came. To get Kelly or Jason to talk about Chris Reed, would that be fair to say?
yes.
And did you ever get them to do that?
No, not really. No.
You know, you said you were assisting the police in this endeavor. Is it Did someone ask you to make phone
Yes.
calls? Who was that?
Well, no, they were calling me first, Kelly and Jason, and I told Lord Frizzle almost immediately that they were contacting me. I knew something was up when the moment they left, you know, if they didn't do it, they had no reason to leave. So,
Okay, so after
so
the
it kind of
conversation,
scared me.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Sorry, it scared me, so I started going to Lord and telling them, hey, they were calling me.
Okay. So after the conference left, you get a phone call and you're like, yeah, I better talk to law enforcement, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then did Ms. Rizzo ask you to help out with this at all, or?
Yeah, well, she asked if I could record it if they do call or if I call them. And I said, yeah, I would.
Did she give you any kind of recording device?
Yes, some other detective did actually.
Do you remember who that person was?
No,
Was it a man or a woman?
it was a man.
Okay. Do you remember when that would have been approximately?
No. It was like a couple weeks after the search warrant.
Okay, that helps. So we're talking maybe,
The whole time they were gone, when they left, that's when I was pretty much recording them.
okay. Now, were you ever offered anything in exchange for helping out here?
No, never.
Okay, just wanted to help out.
Yeah.
Were there actual recordings that were made?
Yes, lots of them. Every phone call, I recorded them.
How many phone calls do you think there were?
I don't know, 50, 60 of them.
And then you turned over those recordings to
Yeah.
who
Text messages, everything.
turned those all over?
Yes.
Who'd you turn them over to?
Either Laura or whoever was working at the office at the time.
And these text messages, how would you turn them over?
They look at them, read them, and then take photocopies of them.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Mr. Saylor, Chief Rizzo did not come to you, you went to her, is that right?
No, she came up to the house.
She came up to the house and
She came up to
interviewed
the
you.
house and asked if me and my Uncle Todd would go down to the office.
So you did an interview?
Then we did an interview. She asked me if I would help, and I said yes.
Was that during the interview or was that at a later date?
It was like during the interview.
And what did you believe help means?
I didn't really understand like help, but I don't know. I said, okay, whatever I can do, I guess, and that's when, like a couple days later, I met the detectives, and that's when I got the recording.
Was the interview after the search warrant?
Yes.
And you said that kind of scared you. What do you mean by that?
Well, it just them leaving the way they were, you know, it just scared me how Jason was looking, and, you know, just being in that house by myself that many times, and then all this was happening, it kind of freaked me out.
And their sudden leaving freaked you out?
Yeah, it's, I mean, well, just his demeanor, just the way he looked that night when the search was going on, I never seen Jason like that.
How was Kelly?
She was just in the room, just overly talking. Like, she talks a lot, but I mean, she talked a lot that night, nonstop.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You're excused.
Your Honor, we have another witness. It could be kind of a lengthy one. I don't know.
All right, we're going to take our morning recess, members of the jury. Let's come back into session at 5 to the hour.
All rise. Court is in recess.